The 2020 Mercedes CLA isn't exactly new. We have seen this model before, but we've never seen this very yellow one right in front of me. This is the new CLA 35 AMG. This is the model for you if 208 horsepower isn't enough, but 375 is a little bit too much. The CLA is Mercedes' most affordable model in America. The base version of the CLA starts at $33,100, so you should expect the CLA 35 to come in right around $43,000 or so. That's my guess, of course. We don't really know exact pricing yet, but the CLA 45 AMG starts at $53,000. This likely slots right between those two models. You'll notice that this is a four-door sedan. However, they have styled it more like their larger four-door coupes. So we do have frameless windows back here. That's sort of Mercedes' definition of a four-door coupe. And that does mean that overall rear headroom is limited because of this very swooping profile right back here. But again, we're talking about the least expensive Mercedes in America. Moving on to the rear, we again find very similar designs to the rest of the Mercedes lineup. We have these red LED tail lamp modules back here with LED turn signals as well. Overall, it's a very clean, very simple look. All CLA models come with a four-cylinder engine under the hood, but the power level changes dramatically depending on which trim you get. The CLA 250 gets 208 horsepower, the CLA 35 AMG gets 302, and if you want to spend a little bit more, you can get a CLA 45 AMG that produces 375 horsepower, still from a 2-liter four-cylinder turbocharged engine. Power is routed to all four wheels in both AMG models, and the only transmission on offer is a 7-speed dual-clutch transmission. That's not exactly the smoothest transmission that we've ever driven here at Alex Autos, but it is definitely fast. On the inside, we find essentially the same interior as the base CLA, only obviously we have more options in this model and more standard features than we find in that base version. The big thing that you'll notice is this new dashboard design in Mercedes' latest vehicles. This is running their latest infotainment software. So this is actually a little bit more modern than what we find in the current generation E-Class or S-Class. They're calling this MBAUX. Or M-Bucks if you want to be a little bit trendier. The big hallmark here is that we now have a touchscreen infotainment system, whereas before we had to use a controller knob. Now there is still a remote touch controller available in the dashboard, and as we've seen in other Mercedes models, you can also use this scroll wheel right over here on the steering wheel. This is sort of like the former little touch knob that we found on Blackberries of the past. We have round air vents, which is pretty much Mercedes' latest hallmark, and the controls for the climate control system right down there below that. As you'd expect out of any modern Mercedes, fit and finish quality and parts quality on the interior is absolutely impeccable. We have a very attractive steering wheel on the driver's side. As we see in other Mercedes performance vehicles, these front seats definitely fit like a glove. If you're much larger than I am, these seats might be a little bit too narrow, but actually for me, I think these are just about perfect. There's pretty severe bolstering right here on the side, so again, if you're a little bit wider, that could be a problem. But unlike some of Mercedes sport seats of the past, they have relaxed the shoulder area right here, which was a complaint of mine in some of their other products. But in this particular generation, we actually have an awful lot more shoulder room there. As with the previous generation CLA, the fit and finish in the back and parts quality is again very high, but this is definitely a small vehicle. So you'll find a lot less room back here than in the least expensive 3 Series, for instance. It's really noticeable with the headroom. I do have to crane my head to one side in order to try and fit back here, and there's not a lot of legroom left. If I wanted this front seat any further back, then I really wouldn't have too much room, and foot room is definitely limited back here. Now, I found myself wanting to sit a little bit closer to the dashboard in this generation of the CLA than in CLAs of the past. That does seem to help out a little bit when it comes to rear seat legroom. As with most of the vehicles that we've been looking at today out here at the New York Auto Show, we don't know exactly when the CLA 35 is going to go on sale in America, but we do expect it sometime in the 2019 calendar year. If you want to know more about this, be sure and hit that subscribe button down there in the comment section below. We will get you a video on this just as soon as we possibly can.